She looked at me across the kitchen counter, her phone half hidden behind the coffee mug, and said, almost laughing, "It's just a weekend with friends. Don't be dramatic." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But there was something in the way she said it, too casual, too rehearsed, that made the words feel like a door quietly closing. I'm Ethan, 38, married for 7 years to Claire. She's the kind of woman who lights up every room she walks into. Confident, social, always surrounded by people. Me? I'm quieter. I don't need much noise to feel alive. For a long time, I thought that balance worked between us. It used to. Lately, though, our home felt less like a place where two people shared a life and more like a waiting room. We talk about bills, groceries, her Pilates schedule. But anything deeper, how we felt, what we missed, what scared us, was off limits. Every time I tried, she'd say, "You're overthinking again." So when she mentioned the weekend trip, a girl's getaway to the lake, I didn't argue. Not at first. But the more I thought about it, the more something in my gut twisted. Maybe it was because of the way her phone suddenly started living face down. Or how she smiled at messages she didn't tell me about. Or maybe it was just intuition, the kind that whispers to you when logic is still trying to sleep. Friday morning, her bag was already by the door when I came downstairs. She kissed my cheek, said, "Don't wait up," and walked out with that light, carefree laugh I used to love. I stood there, staring at the door long after it shut. The sound of her car fading down the street felt like silence learning how to breathe. By evening, I couldn't shake the feeling. I opened her laptop, something I hadn't done in years. Maybe I wanted to be proven wrong. Maybe I wanted reassurance that I was the dramatic one. Her browser was still logged in. Group chat, lake crew water wave woman dancing. Except one message stood out. From someone named Mark. Mark. "So, no guilt this time?" Claire. "Don't start. It's just a weekend." Mark. "Sure. Same cabin, same bed." Claire. "Don't be dramatic." I froze. It was like the words on the screen punched every ounce of breath out of me. I didn't scroll further. I didn't need to. The truth doesn't need paragraphs, it only needs one sentence to end everything. I sat there for a while. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. I don't know. When I finally moved, it wasn't out of anger. It was clarity. I didn't call her. I didn't text her. Instead, I opened my drawer, took out an envelope where I'd kept every small note she'd ever left me. "Love you. Miss you. Can't wait for dinner tonight." I stacked them neatly on the counter, beside her favorite mug. Then I wrote one of my own. "It's just the end. Relax." I left it right under the mug. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Not peacefully, just empty. Like the air after a storm finally decides to stop roaring. Saturday came. No call. No text. Nothing. By Sunday afternoon, she walked through the door carrying the same bag, wearing the same perfume, and smiling the same smile she always did after a girl's trip. She looked at me sitting on the couch and said, "You didn't even text me once." "That's unlike you." I just nodded. I didn't want to be dramatic. Her face flickered for a second, like a light unsure if it should stay on. Then she laughed softly. "You're being weird. Everything okay?" I said, "Perfectly fine," because for the first time it actually was. But inside I was already gone. When she went upstairs to unpack, I heard the faint buzz of her phone on the counter. One message preview lit up the screen. "Mark. Did he suspect anything?" She stared at it for half a second longer than she should have before flipping the phone over. And that was when I knew. She wasn't scared of losing me. She was scared of being caught. That's a very different kind of love. When she came back downstairs, she was humming. Same melody she always hummed when she was hiding something. Soft, lazy, almost cheerful. She tossed her bag near the stairs and said, "You didn't even ask how my trip was." I looked up from the cup of coffee I wasn't really drinking. "How was it?" She hesitated, maybe surprised I'd even bothered. "Fun. Just what I needed." The girls were hilarious. We stayed up late, talked for hours. "You'd have hated it." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Good," I said quietly. "I'm glad you got what you needed." She frowned at the way I said needed. Ethan, what's that supposed to mean? I shrugged. Exactly what it sounds like. She stood there for a moment, waiting for me to argue, to accuse, to raise my voice like a jealous husband. But I didn't. I think that unnerved her more than any shouting could have. Are you seriously mad about a weekend? She asked. You always do this. You build up stories in your head. I set the mug down and met her eyes. I'm not mad. I'm done. Her laugh was small and sharp. Done with what? With pretending we're okay. Something in her posture changed. A stiffness, a twitch near her mouth. Ethan, you're overreacting. Maybe, I said, but I'd rather overreact to lies than underreact to disrespect. She blinked. What are you talking about? I nodded toward the counter, where the envelope still sat beside the mug. She walked over, picked it up, read the note. Her eyes skimmed the words twice before she looked back at me. Where did you see it? She asked, voice suddenly low. Does it matter? Her silence was the answer I expected. She didn't deny it. She didn't fight for it. She just deflated. After a long pause, she whispered, It didn't mean anything. I almost laughed. It never does, until it does. She started crying then, the quiet kind that doesn't come from guilt but from fear of consequences. I watched her for a moment, realizing how many times I'd mistaken those tears for love. I made a mistake, she said. I was lonely. You've been distant. Lonely? I repeated. I was right here every night, Claire. You just stopped noticing. She tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. It wasn't anger, it was instinct, the kind that comes when you've touched fire one too many times. I'll fix it, she said. We can talk to someone. Therapy, maybe? I shook my head. You wanted freedom. You called it a girls' weekend, but it was really a test drive. You already found out what it feels like without me. She bit her lip, the silence stretching between us. You're really leaving? I nodded. I already left. Her eyes darted to the stairs. You packed. No, I said softly. You did. Every time you lied. Every time you rolled your eyes instead of listening. Every time you told me I was dramatic for caring. You packed a little more. She didn't answer. Just stood there, the reality finally catching up to her. I walked past her, grabbed my jacket from the chair. The air outside was cold, but it felt cleaner than anything I'd breathed in months. As I reached the door, she said, Ethan, what am I supposed to tell people? I turned back. Tell them the truth, that you wanted space. You got it. And then I left. I didn't go far that night. Just drove until the highway lights blurred into lines. Ended up at a cheap motel off the interstate, the kind with humming vending machines and flickering signs. I sat on the bed and stared at my phone. Her name still at the top of my messages, unread ones piling up beneath it. For a second, I thought about replying. Then I remembered how it felt reading those texts from Mark. The casual cruelty of don't be dramatic. So I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the window, let the night air fill the room, and whispered to myself, it's just the end. Relax. A month later, the divorce papers came through. She didn't fight much. Maybe she thought I'd change my mind once I calmed down. But some things don't heal with time, they just become clearer. I wasn't angry anymore, just grateful. Because sometimes losing someone isn't a tragedy. It's the last piece of proof that you finally respect yourself. And if she ever wonders why I never looked back, I hope she remembers her own words. It's just a weekend with friends. Because that weekend cost her everything.